Ooh. Grab your friends, it's time to vibe. Come together, feel that rise. Watch the game while the beat flows. At the sports bar where anything goes. Laughter and joy, we're in the zone. On the swivel at the sports bar. Cheering loud, feeling like a star. Good times, laughter and every score. On the swivel, come back for more. Come back for more. Tasty treats and soulful sounds. Feel the rhythm is where joy's found. Ooh. With every cheer we come alive. Come on in, let's thrive and jive. In this moment we find our groove. On the swivel at the sports bar. Cheering loud, feeling like a star. Good times, laughter and every score. On the swivel, come back for more. Ooh, come back for more. Ooh, come back for more. Tasty treats and soulful sounds. Feel the rhythm, it's where joy's found. Ooh, with every cheer we come alive. Come on in, let's thrive and jive. In this moment we find our groove. Ooh, on the swivel at the sports bar. Cheering loud, feeling like a star. Good times, laughter and every score. On the swivel, come back for more. Swing on by, don't miss the fun. At the sports bar, the best begun. Ooh, come back for more. 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 Come back for more.
Hello, hello. You're on the swivel at the sports bar. Unique Sports Talk. R. Payne here, your favorite baby boomer. You know, this is the dark days of the football season, right? Right between the 2 weeks between the championship games of the conference and the Super Bowl. So I don't know, it's too early to start making all the predictions, but for me right now, real early. It may change. I think Seattle's going to win. So anyway, and it's going to bring back those bad memories of that bad pass and that bad call and the last time these two teams played together. Anyway, before we get started, like, share, and subscribe. Hit the like button. If you're listening for a second, just hit the like button. It helps the algorithm for me. Subscribe to the channel. This one is Unique Sports Talk. But if you're on my other channel, Marriage, Politics, and Sports, subscribe to either one. And, join the chat. Make some comments on the replay. All that good stuff. Copyright disclaimer. I use other people's material. It's all fair use. So I put this in here every week. I'm here every week on Wednesdays at 7. If you didn't know that, you know it now. All right, so let's get started. All right, the football season's almost over. But, okay, so early, this is the limbo week. So I just found some stuff to talk about. And these are the two unlikely teams this year to be playing in the Super Bowl. And the thing about the Super Bowl this year, in the whole year, it was wide open. Nobody was so dominant, right, that you would say, hey, this team is head and shoulders above the other one, right? So let's just listen to some people have some conversation about, how these two teams came about. I'm only going to play a few minutes of this, not a lot, but this way I get to shut up.
Super Bowl 60 is set. Seahawks versus Patriots. a rematch from just over a decade ago. When the playoffs started, plenty of people predicted this exact matchup for the Super Bowl. But what most people don't realize is just how unprecedented this game actually is. Because based on everything we knew before the season, this matchup was never supposed to happen. Every year, before the NFL season kicks off, sportsbooks release preseason Super Bowl odds. They're never perfect, but historically, they give a pretty accurate picture of which teams actually have a realistic shot to win it all. In most seasons, the eventual champion comes from near the top of these rankings. The last time a team outside the top 10 won the Super Bowl was the 2017 Philadelphia Eagles, which was a memorable Cinderella run. So when teams like the 2017 Eagles or 2007 Giants, who were afterthoughts in the preseason, win it all, it isn't just rare, it's historic. And that brings us to this year. Before the 2025 season even began, the Seattle Seahawks were ranked as the 19th most likely team to win the Super Bowl, and the New England Patriots were ranked 20th. Teams like...
Isn't that something? Right there, 19 and 20. If you put, what's that? If you put down $100 or $1, you would have made $6,000. I mean, come on. That would have been a great bet. And some people actually won that bet. Ain't that something?
The Cardinals, Commanders, and Vikings were all viewed as more likely contenders. In the last 25 years, we haven't seen a Super Bowl team this overlooked, let alone two of them in the same year. But somehow, this narrative is being forgotten this year. The Seattle Seahawks and New England Patriots were never supposed to come this far. If you told someone that this would be the Super Bowl matchup prior to the start of the season, they would probably think it was a historic playoff run from both teams. But what makes the season even crazier for the Seahawks and Patriots is that they dominated all year long. It wasn't like they just caught fire late like the Super Bowl winning Eagles and Giants. Instead, Seattle and New England were great from the moment the year started.
Well, listen, they were pretty good from the beginning of the year. I think that the Broncos might have won that game if they would have had their starting quarterback. You know, you saw the adjustments New England had to make to win that game against Stidham. So, you know, they were okay. I think, and then Sam Darnold was a bust in New York. I mean, he was a bust. I mean, he wasn't even good, you know. So at least the scouts or somebody saw something in that man that it just didn't play out in New York. The pressure of being in the city, the media, and the fact that the teams are like kind of all around horrible all the time. This guy, you know, if he wins, he'll probably be the MVP. It'll be one of the greatest turnarounds for a quarterback in a long time. So whoever saw some real potential in Sam Darnold, they made a big deal. So we got the point with this. I just wanted to show how unlikely these two teams would be in the Super Bowl, and you know, we got to wait on these guys. You know, so. Yeah, well, anyway, so let's continue. What's next? All right, so this is just preliminary. I put this up here. You know, who do you got? My early predictions, I got Seahawks by 8 points. That may change. It depends on how much stuff I want to listen to between now and the Super Bowl. Who's hurt, who's not hurt. You know. People trying to convince you one team's better than the other, but I have the Seahawks in this game. I'll probably just stick with my real early prediction. And people are starting, you know, I don't really bet that much, but there you go. And this is just an old bracket. The basketball, you know, so many games, man. I don't know who your teams are. It looks like the Thunder is, you know, they started out real hot, but now they're in the dog days of the basketball season, and they started to lose more games, but they still look like they're going to win out, you know. And the Pistons are a big surprise. As for me, the Celtics are the biggest surprise right now in the NBA, because when Tatum went down, I think, you know, people thought they wouldn't even make the playoffs, and it just shows you how good Green is and the rest of the team. So they have a really good team. And they definitely, now we know they're not one deep. But And the Knicks surprised me too. I thought they would take a major step back, but they didn't. But we'll see. John, if I'm from that area, sometimes the Knicks disappoint. I don't know if they're going to go any further this year than they did last year, but who knows? But who knows? And of course, the West always seems to be stacked. So the thing about basketball and even hockey, if you're a big hockey fan, but the teams are everywhere. You got to actually look it up. What game is on what streaming service and what night and all this. It's not just TNT, of course, and ESPN. It's like all over the place, right? So, and I know they lost the what's more with TNT. So if it's still on TNT, I'm not sure. But I've been watching it on streaming services. You got to just find and search your game out, or get the NBA League Pass. You know what I say? If you're a big basketball fan and you want consistency, they even have some games on the NBA channel, right? So it's all over the place, man. So they're really trying to market this, and the game's all over the place, and you got to get out of the thesaurus to go find the goddamn things. All right, so moving on to the W. I'm just moving through these things, I don't know, maybe my boy might come up. I don't know if he will or not, but we're going to just move through. WNBA. You know what? The women, I need to change the banner. The WNBA, the women, I don't know how you could fumble a bag any more than these women in the WNBA. Because I'm understanding that the offer that the WNBA is giving them is a really pretty good offer. So let's hear a little bit about it. My man Marcellus Wiley is going to talk about it. So we'll play maybe 2-3 minutes of this, maybe a little bit more. I think because Rebecca Lobo has something to say about where things are. And I think it might be worth listening to.
I care about the WNBA as well. I got 3 daughters, 2 of them young and athletic. We'll see. But right now, I'm not so sure. Here we go. Rebecca Lobo worried about the WNBA players are losing fan support in the CBA talks. When the deal is presented, that's over $1 million in max salary and revenue shares, called a slap in the face. Can y'all be smarter and use different words? Yeah, Lobo. She went there because it's crazy. They are messing around. They are not doing what they need to be doing right now. It's kind of like the wave. The wave is crashing. The Unrivaled ain't it. I don't know what Plan B is or whatever they call that thing. Project B, Plan B. That was not on purpose. That would be hilarious.
That would
they
be
named
hilarious.
an alternate league for the women, Plan B.
Plan B.
If you got that type of humor. All right, I got this type of humor. Let's hear what she's talking about for real.
Which is a great segue to the CBA negotiation.
Dun, 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 dun.
We're just going to talk about it a little bit. Obviously, still ongoing. We talked about that earlier in our pod today. You actually were quoted somewhere saying this is the first time you have zero fear around the league folding, right? Which I totally know what you mean. It's like in other negotiations, there was always not like it was actually going to fold, but it was like, hey, we got to figure this out. How are we going to do this kind of a vibe? All right. So from your perspective, what should be like?
She got the Jimmy Walker on. She flexing. I love it. And I'm going to read you a book before you go to bed. Soup. I love it.
The high priorities for this agreement.
It's been interesting to kind of see how it has all evolved. And one of the things that strikes me is like the deal that, as you read it, that the owners have on the table for the players. And, I'm not privy to all of the information, but like, it looks like a pretty amazing deal. And that like, if the players took the deal that's on the table right now, they should feel great about it because it's huge salaries. It is a degree of revenue sharing. It's going to allow the owners to continue to invest in the product. I mean, having a practice facility, having all the things that Sue and you played and I played all those years without. Like my New York Liberty team practiced at the Brearley Middle School on the Upper East Side on a court that was middle school size. Like that's just what we did. I'm hopeful. It seems like the sides are farther apart than they should be though for this point in time. And I'm hopeful that they'll come together. I don't know that from what I understand and the people that I've talked to that the owners have that much more that they can give in terms of revenue share or in terms of max salary. So calm and cool, and heads have always prevailed in these negotiations, and I'm hopeful that they do. One thing, I want for the players to get absolutely as much as they can get. I'm thrilled for them in the climate that we are with women's basketball right now. It's booming, and the players have.
All right. So wait a minute. Okay, you say women's basketball is booming, and that's questionable if the momentum that surrounded Caitlin Clark and some of the other players that came out last year is it still there or not? There's been a lot of sour talk. The women are, arrogant. Talking about things that they shouldn't be talking about in the way they're talking about. So I'm not so sure boom is the word. I mean, I know they got a good contract with the network, so at least next year, but there's still a lot of talk about lockout by the owners and strike by the ladies. And I agree with you that even the fact that the ladies are mentioning higher salaries in the 7 figures for some players, because I believe Asia Wilson should be a 7-figure player. Just for her stats alone. And but it's not that cut and dry. So I know everybody wants to be optimistic, but I think with the Unrivaled League and some of those ladies who are playing over there, there's like $450 million behind the rival league, and we're going to talk about them next anyway. But okay, let's continue.
The reason for that, or a big part of the reason for that, some of the rhetoric I've heard from their side has been a little bit troublesome. Like when a deal is presented that's over $1 million max salary and revenue share, it's called a slap in the face. Like it's that just use different words, and I'm worried that the players might be getting to a point where they might be losing some of the support from the public. And I think that's been a big part of this all along. Like when we were at All-Star and the players put their pay us what you owe us shirts on, it felt to me in that arena like the players had 100% support of the from WNBA fans. I'm doing a game early in the playoffs. This is before Nafisa has said anything about the commissioner, and the video comes up in Vegas with Kathy talking, and there was like a minute straight of boos. This is before Nafisa's comments. Again, it felt like, wow, the players have 100% support.
Let me tell you, people always boo the commissioner. I don't care what sports you are. You haven't arrived unless the people boo the commissioner. So I wouldn't be too much of the boo over the commissioner, even though people say she's doing a bad job.
Of the fan base in the WNBA. And as these negotiations have gone on, it feels like some of that is waning. And I think some of it has just been some of the language and the verbiage and that sort of thing that we've heard from the Players Association. I think the players just need to be a little bit more careful with how they're articulating things, because if you're working whatever job, a max salary of 1.2 million, average salary of 500,000, if you don't think it's fair, that's fine, but don't call it a slap in the face.
Okay, so that's enough. One of the things that's going to be very difficult, and I know this is going to sound sexist, but the women are all in their feelings. It's like herding cats. They're going to say what they feel, just like all American women do, no matter if it hurts them in the long run or not. There's going to be a lot of shit being said, and it's just almost no way you could check them, right? It's like, who's going to check me, boo? And you talk about black women too? Forget it. Anyway, so hopefully they'll get out of this thing and actually have a season. But, who knows? But CBA is ongoing. You're supposed to play hardball, I guess. I think if they get a lockout or a strike, it's going to really be devastating for the WNBA. All right, so I wanted to say that. And here's the Unrivaled League. Now, the fact that they let some of the main players, what's her name, Nafisa Collier, whatever, have be a main player with some other ladies to start this league or to make a deal with this league. Unrivaled I saw some of the games. I mean, full court 3-on-3s. A couple of games were interesting last year. Plus they got a bonus for winning as on one-on-one tournament, intra tournament one-on-one. And the money that they pay these girls is good. It's really good. So they say it's a rival league. Everybody going to come here, but it's kind of a conflict of interest because the head of the WNBA Players Union is also wrapped up in this. What's her Mafifa, whatever her name is, Collier, her sister Collier. is in the middle of this shit. So how is she an honest broker if she's in the middle of the unrivaled league? It really seems out of balance. But here's the standings. They got 8 teams this year. So they're in full swing. They are in full swing. Okay. Again, for the second season. I'm not sure how to, I haven't watched any games, but they got network TV showing their games and all that kind of good stuff. So they're on their way. And whoever, I don't know who the money behind it is. I didn't really do the checking. I don't know if it's from the Arabs or whoever it is, but there's a lot of money, $450 million behind this thing. All right, so anybody out there watching the Unrivaled League, put something in the chat and say, hey, you know, you like it or dislike it, or you think it's good or not. You know, because I don't know. I mean, the games I saw last year were pretty interesting. All right, hockey. I'm just bouncing all the way through the thing. I used to watch hockey all the time. I don't do it that much at all. And it's just like basketball. Man, it's like too many games. So many teams make the playoffs, and it's like only worth watching the playoffs unless you're a real hardcore fan. You know, I watch, you know, you if you're changing the channel and you see a hockey game on, you might pause. If you're just a fair weather fan or just somebody who likes sports, it's a dull night, nothing's on TV. Hockey is pretty interesting if you're a big fan, right? I remember when they had the winter games, you know, and now they have the Olympics coming up. So they're going to be shut down for like maybe a week or two or something like that, or maybe a whole month while these guys go play in the Olympics. So this is a kind of special year for the hockey league because all these teams have the foreign players. They're going to go huddle with their countries and things of that nature and play in the Winter Olympics, which starts in February. You know, so and then they'll come back and they'll finish off the season. All right, so it's going to be a lot of hockey left. So I guess that pushes back the season for like another month or so. All right, so other sports banter, you know, things that's right on the peripheral that I like to talk about. And I don't know if I spelled his name, but meet Pierre Rondeau, Rajon Rondo, and anybody who's a basketball fan. I think Rajon Rondo is like I don't know if he played consistently enough, but I think he's like a borderline. I'm gonna say it. I think he's like a borderline Hall of Famer. Maybe his number's not good enough, but he's an underrated great player, you know. So here's his son.
Pierre Rondo, son of NBA star Rajon Rondo, is really tough. Only in the 8th grade. And look, you can see it in his face, but he's starting varsity and going crazy. He was taking on the #1 high school team in Kentucky and went out there and went to work and got the dub. Turn the corner, attack, underhand, scoop, lay. To only be in the 8th grade, this kid is extremely poised. Gets downhill, doesn't even beat the defender, but extremely crafty to get the shot off. Mind you, he's in the 8th grade. This is varsity. That means he's going against some seniors. Making great reads like this to the corner, wide open 3-ball, get it out the net. It's about to be crazy one day. The league finna be full of NBA sons. You could just see the poise in his game, just like Pop. Get in the lane, drop off, dime. He see the game just like Rajon. It's in the DNA. Them boys just pass the hell out the ball. Again, look how poised this kid looks in probably the biggest game of his life so far. Ain't no rush. Draw 2, make the right read. Wide open 3-ball, get it out the net. Now he chilling in the corner. Good swing. Now you know what to do. Swing that one more. Wide open corner 3, get it out the net. You know Pop's told him we play both ways in this family. You better lock some shit up. We move them feet round this way. And if it's ever a loose ball, it ain't no 50-50. I ain't never seen a Rondo not come up with it. Good job by the refs. Don't just call the jump ball. Let him fight for it. Pierre Rondo wanted that rock more than anybody. Like I said earlier, they play 2 ways in this family. Let me see that rock, my boy. We ain't finna wait on nothing. Straight attack mode. Excuse me. By you. Draw in the defense, kick out to the wide open shooter. Get it out the net. This kid a real PG out here. They try to press him. We good. Everybody clear out. I got this. I'm just saying, to really be able to handle this type of pressure in the 8th grade is crazy. When I was in the 8th grade, varsity players looked like damn near NBA players to me. He out here dropping dimes, doing everything. Hey, all I can say, get them scholarships ready. Euro got all 3 of them boys. Finish with the left. I'm telling you, I know it's some college coaches can't wait to get a Rondo running the show for him. And I ain't gonna lie, you can already see at a young age, he kind of moved like Pops. It's a little different out there. The boy, do he want the smoke? He want that pressure. Blow by, excuse me, to the cup with the left. This young man moving different. The fact he really taking his time with this is crazy. Coming off this pick the big and drop coverage, that's a crazy man. Pull up 3-ball, get it out the net. Bro dropped 17 points, 9 assists against the #1 team in Kentucky. Pierre Rondo.
All right, just wanted to say, hey, Rajon Rondo, he said it right. There's a clue in there. A lot of NBA sons will be in the NBA. it's about that time. A lot of those guys grow. So that's just an introduction to Rayshawn Rondo. Here's Coco Gauff. This is the second year in a row she lost in the third round of the Australian Open. And, so she implodes. And, the thing I really hate is, what does racism have to do with the fact you lost a goddamn tennis match? You know what I'm saying? Stop it. Everything doesn't, circle around the color of your skin, Coco. And I have a question for her coming up back, in a little later on. I mean, I only have a couple more slides to go. But, I mean, come on, sis. Play better tennis. That's what they need you to do. Play better tennis.
Sports on YouTube. The no holds barred truth on sports.
The 3 tennis player in the world. She really made headlines because she bought into the bait from that woke reporter at the Australian Open, trying to get her to actually bash Trump in the United States. And she said, "Oh, it's so hard being a black woman." Yeah. She got demolished at the Australian Open.
Yes, she did.
This match was over in less than an hour. She lost, I believe, 6-1, 6-2. And then she threw a tantrum when she actually thought she was off camera. She was caught on camera. And boy, she got triggered by that, man. She got triggered by that. She was caught smashing a racket. Now, honestly, guys, I watch tennis. I don't have a problem with players smashing their rackets. This happens, okay? It even happens like during matches. When something goes very, very bad, man, some of these players lose their minds. I mean, John McEnroe made a career, great tennis player, by the way, but he made a career, man, having tantrums. But Coco Gauff, man, I guess now she actually has a little bit of time now to concentrate on wokeness and being a black woman in America.
Yeah, man, that shit really bothered me. I told, she should have, and I wouldn't expect this from anybody in America, but she should have told the reporter, what the hell does that have to do with me getting my ass kicked on the tennis court, what Trump is doing? That's, if she had a handler to say, listen, we're not answering no political questions over here in fucking Australia. She's
eliminated from the Australian Open. I guess you got time now to actually prepare for the clay season with the French Open that's going to be coming up later on this spring. So let's go ahead, guys, and get into this. Here we go. Right over here, guys. U.S. tennis star Coco Gauff smashes racket after brutal Australian Open loss. Yeah. Severely disappointed U.S. tennis star Coco Gauff was seen smashing a tennis racket.
All right, so let's get to this. Let's get to the span.
It's usually so even-keeled. I feel like she's trying to walk away from the camera there.
So even with that, right? And the way they all framed it is like, here's this angry black woman kind of thing, which is patently unfair, right? But they didn't say that. I mean, it's like the optics of her trying to go high to smash the racket. Like she would have been better off just smashing the racket right on the court, because that's no different than so many other tennis players. Well, so by following her out, now, let's be honest, they know she was mad. But did the cameraman have any idea that she would throw a racket tirade like they did this shit on purpose to catch her in a gotcha moment? Absolutely not. How would they know that she was going to smash a freaking racket like a mad woman? And the way they couched it afterwards, or the way the perception of it is patently unfair. Right? You could call it race or not, but black women, y'all got this angry black woman shit going on. And hey, it looks like, and that's the unfair part about it. But that wasn't a headline. Nobody, in people's personal minds, some people might have thought that, but she was just another athlete who got her ass kicked on the court. And to me, that's just passion being unleashed because you got your ass kicked by a woman who shouldn't have beat your ass like that. It should have been competitive, yeah. But you're Coco. You're a champion. You know, you should play better than that. You know, and what's really bothering her is because she's becoming a celebrity. Right? She's made more money than most of the tennis players this year and last year, I believe. And you know, she's all over the place. You know, I think she's swapped out trainers and shit like that. I don't think she's looking at her craft the way she should. Now, she's only 21 years old. But remember, she's been around for a while. She won her first slam at 19. So at 21, it's not, you know, she's got more growth to do. Not because she smashed the racket, but her game, her tennis game. You know, she needs to get better at serving, right? Because she's quick, but she needs to get, you know, a little stronger maybe. And, you know, it's funny, she's deceptively tall. You know, she's not a small woman. You know, she's slim and slender, but when you look at her standing next to other tennis players, she's not short. Anyway, so, you know, but listen, as a Black person, we gotta be really, really slow to cry racism over things. I mean, it's just it's old. Everything about you being Black is about you getting your ass kicked on the court. Now, I give you a pass for smashing a racket. Everybody does it. Anyway, so there you go, Coco. Next tournament coming up, man. Play better. All right. So listen, I haven't talked about Tim Duncan in a while, but I found this clip and I didn't notice I knew his first wife was fucked up. Excuse my language, but I didn't know how bad it was. So we're going to play this clip, you know, on how, you know, and people like Tim Duncan. You know, they like there was the big professor, what do they call him, man? But anyway.
Both of Tim Duncan's children aren't his biological children. His wife hid from him that she had been dating strange men for 10 years. Actually, Amy had already betrayed Tim Duncan since college. She dated 3 men simultaneously, and Tim was just one of them.
Well, listen,
Amy married Tim Duncan. Both of Tim Duncan's children aren't his biological children.
Yeah, so let's not skip over that. Because I don't think for a man, you know, without being, you know, physically assaulted, I don't think too much more can damage a man's psyche than finding out the kids that you raised are not yours because your wife betrayed you. Okay, that shit's deep as hell, man. You know, so but I didn't know that. After all these years, I didn't know that's the depth of her betrayal. I know she was fucked up to him, but this is the depth of her betrayal. Absolute diabolical.
His wife hid from him that she had been dating strange men for 10 years. Actually, Amy had already betrayed Tim Duncan since college. She dated 3 men simultaneously, and Tim was just one of them. Amy married Tim Duncan because he was an NBA player. Tim had no idea his wife didn't love him. During their marriage, Amy spent Tim Duncan's money on her boyfriends. According to statistics, 40% of Tim Duncan's money was spent by Amy's boyfriends. Do you know how Tim Duncan discovered her cheating? In 2012, Tim Duncan injured his hip muscles. During a hospital examination, the doctor found that he suffered from infertility. Tim Duncan thought the doctor must have made a mistake. He went to 5 different hospitals for testing. The results showed that he did indeed have infertility. That day was his worst day emotionally. He didn't go home but returned to the arena. He sat in a chair and thought all night. Finally, he decided to hire a private investigator to investigate his wife. 4 months later, he received evidence from the detective. After reading the evidence, he cried in the bedroom for a long time. Both children weren't his. The children's biological father turned out to be Tim Duncan's brother. His wife had...
All right. Okay. All right. So not only is she diabolical, she's the devil herself, and his brother is right along with her as, you know, her stablemate. Can you imagine? But just think about the depth of this deception. All right, she wanted the kids to look a little like Tim, right? So it wasn't like she went and found the closest match to him, which is his brother. And the fact that his brother agreed to be banging out his brother's wife and impregnated. Now, listen, I did not check the veracity of this story. So this is all alleged as far as I'm concerned. So I want to throw that in there because the narrator and the people who provided this as a clip, I think if this is false information, I'm blaming it on them. So if this is true, this shit is absolutely diabolical. It really is. It really is. And Tim was always one of those kind of sad, subdued kind of guys. But let me tell you, as bad as this shit is, it didn't impact him on the court. It did not impact him on the court. At least it was invisible to the viewer because he was a badass for his whole career, right? Anyway, so there you have it, man. A sad story of Tim Duncan, man. A woman could destroy a man very, very easy. They say men are the biggest predators against women and violently, and we're an apex predator against them. But emotionally and every other way, women are just as vicious apex predator against men. They can destroy a man's psyche in a minute. So I guess we're even. Anyway, so I have a couple of questions that I leave, that I always go in at the end and talk about, so you guys in the chat can maybe answer these if you want. Bill Belichick gets snubbed as a first ballot Hall of Famer. This is a travesty, whether you like Bill or not, whether you say, well, he had Tom Brady or not. That's immaterial. And when Bill and Tom, and Bill was the coach for those years in New England, these guys were an absolute dynasty. If it wasn't for the Giants, it would have been a flipple-bipple dynasty. So how does he not get in as a head coach, the Hall of Famer on the first ballot? It's like even if he gets in on the second or third ballot, it's going to be bittersweet. Now they're blaming it on, what's that? Something gate, inflation gate, and the balls being inflated when they were spying on the other teams and all that kind of shit, man. That's no reason to keep him out on the first. As a first ballot Hall of Famer. So what do you guys think? You put something in the chat if you want to, or just listen in or thinking on your own. I think it was bad. It kind of taints the Hall of Fame altogether. So maybe Terrell Owens, wasn't crazy when he boycotted the Hall of Fame, because these guys, since it's not by an algorithm, it's not by some kind of algorithm that picks the Hall of Fame. It's by people. So I think it's 100 reporters or something like that, and they bring their bias to the table, which for some of them trumps your numbers, right? Because it's absolutely some people in that pool who hate Bill Belichick. And I understand that if there's out of the 100, if 11 or more don't put you in as a first ballot, you don't get in as a first ballot. You got to get as much as like 90 or 91 or something like that. If you only get 89 votes, I don't think you don't get in as a first ballot, some shit like that. That's incredible. It's incredible. So they're going to be talking about this shit. Actually, it's not going to impede or impact the Super Bowl, but it's definitely a conversation piece that is going to be used in this nice little gap between this 2-week gap between the Super Bowl. That's all they're going to be talking about. All the talk shows, everything, unless something else happens. But that was a travesty right there. The next one with Coco Gauff. My question is, has her game regressed? That's the first part of this. I know it's kind of crazy because she's only 21 and she should still be getting better. But in the last few tournaments, it doesn't seem like she's getting better. Right? She's getting eliminated by some ladies who shouldn't be able to hold a candle to her by now. So is she going to have that spurt where she's so dominant that nobody's going to beat her? and where she don't have to go off and go in an Australian Open and get your ass kicked like you're a rookie. 6-1, 6-2. Are you kidding me? That means she was missing all kinds of shots. There had to be so many unforced errors in there for her to lose that badly. You know? Anyway. And that goes to the second part. You know, do we think she reached her peak? I just put that in there at 21 years old. It seems impossible, correct? Right? Because usually, I mean, what's your peak for a tennis player? Is it more like 25, 26? We know you could play well into your 30s because, you know, you can if you're really good. And I think Serena and Venus, I guess, especially Serena, kind of skewed those numbers because she was good for so long into her 30s, you know. So, you know, they don't make kids like that anymore. And so here's your thought. And my last one is this, and I'm going to play this little link I have there. And this is mostly for the men who want to get married. And it's a sports thing only because I got this from the Pivot podcast. And I might be doing a live on the Black Man Unfiltered Network on Monday, talking about certain questions about relationships. You know, on my other channel is Marriage, Politics, and Sports. I don't really get into the relationship stuff as much as I should, except for my Let the Women Tell It series on that channel. But this one I found interesting. The question on the floor is, if you ask a woman to marry you and she says, I got to think about it, what do you do?
All right, fellas. I watch a lot of TV. Y'all know that? So I'm watching this show. Dude proposes to his girlfriend. She says she needs more time. Now, when she came back in 2 weeks after her time, he was like, you know what? I'm actually cool on it because we clearly ain't in the same place. If you, or if a guy, ask a woman to marry him and the woman says, I need more time, do you, one, give her more time? Two, how much time do you give her?
I think he was in his feelings, first and foremost. I mean, because he probably got sensitive. His expectation was high. He thought they was lovey-dovey. He thought she was on the same page that he was on. She said, no, I need more time. Basically, she said no. That was a no, and that's an immediate no. The more time was, let me go and think. Now she has to do her emotional thing as a woman. I believe he made the right decision, you know, to kind of step away from it. Maybe they both need more time was the conclusion of it all. If I ask you to marry me, I'm going to expect the answer right then and there, and that was her answer. So maybe it wasn't right for him. I don't know, man. What y'all think?
I've asked one person to marry me and they say yes on the spot. If they'd have said no, I said, fuck you, and we'd have never talked again.
For real?
What are you talking? Fred.
It wasn't a no, Chan. It was a I need more time.
Fred hit on the head, RC. It was a no. Marry me, the ring. Either put your left hand out or not. And you say no, you. What are you talking about? I'm old school. I asked, Asia was raised by her grandparents.
Right.
I asked Asia's grandfather on the way to Walmart. I used to drive him to Walmart on the weekends because I married Asia. He said yes. We had a whole family thing going. Will you marry me? On South Beach, on the beach, across from Prime 112. We just ate. No. You. And I'm out of there. So now I'm on the, what am I doing? I'm just sitting here every day waiting to see if you're going to take this ring. Who am I? I'm Gollum. I'm Gollum sitting there worshiping. Yeah, I'm worrying about my precious. Man, get out of here. I don't know the man's name. If you ask someone to marry them and they don't say yes and get excited, don't marry them. Because it's going to go bad because now they don't know if they like you that much. Hang it up.
Yeah, honestly, for me, if I ask you to marry me and you tell me you need more time, you already telling me that I ain't for you.
I know you don't cuss that much. You.
Yeah, because like you ain't for the streets.
Again,
I mean,
I
you for the
know
streets to
I
me
ain't
now,
gonna say
and even
F
if that's
you.
not what it is, you ain't for me.
Right.
And the other thing is this too, though. Recently,
man.
I knew somebody, and they was like, "Yeah, man, I just asked this chick to marry me." She said no. I said, "Well, did you expect her to say yes?" And he said, "Oh, I didn't really know." I said, "Well, were you dating seriously?" And he was like, "Well, not really, but I drove to Wisconsin from Arizona to ask her." I said, "That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard." And so the thing I say first, if you're going to ask someone to marry you, you should have already had the conversations about whether or not that's for y'all. If you guys are in that place, it's supposed to be buku setup conversations to me getting this ring. Like, what do you want?
What he's saying is you shouldn't be just boyfriend and girlfriend. You should be courting. You should be courting each other. And when you're courting a person, you're courting specifically to get married. It's not like we're boyfriend and girlfriend. Shit, we're grown. All that boyfriend and girlfriend stuff is bullshit. Right? So, if you're courting somebody, it's already understood through conversation and through all this that you're working together to see if you're compatible for the long haul for a covenant-based marriage. And so with all that in mind, if you ask that woman, now it's time for me to go ahead and pop the question for real, and she says she needs to think about it, then she ain't as into you as you think it is. And so then you, at that point, I think the courtship is even over.
For your future, can you see yourself being? What's the next step for us? And in this world, we don't all do everything by the Bible. You probably halfway living with each other and shacking up by this point if I'm gonna ask you to marry me. And so when a woman says she needs more time, then she's either deciding to herself, should I settle for this dude who ain't everything I want, but he might be good to me, he might take care of me, he might be hardworking, he might be loyal, but I don't really know if it's him. If you got to take 2 weeks to figure out if you're going to settle on me or not, I don't want you no way. Because clearly I have made the damn decision.
Settle. Just settle. Hey, I don't settle on me, goddammit. You.
No, but we got to be fair, though, because we don't know how much time it was between them being together and he asking and that whole thing, right? So we got to be fair. Maybe they weren't together.
But if you the dude are in a place where you
listen, the dude over here say you got to be fair. The only question I would ask him if I was on this podcast is, have you been divorced? Have you been divorced? Because if you give that kind of grace, you can't, listen, it might sound sexist to some women. If I had any women in this thing, I know could tell you're here. It might sound sexist, but if you're, as a man, if the woman you married is not unequivocally into you, you can't marry her. You just can't. She's got one eye on the door. She's waiting for some Prince Charming, and you ain't it. Anyway, so you got to come to grips with that. Well, on this topic, I'll be doing a show on the Black Man Unfiltered Network on Monday coming up, Lord willing, at 7:00 Eastern, because this and some other questions I think men should ask and talk about for a full show. So I think this one's the interest one. So it piqued my interest for a whole show, not just this one question, but some others that I think men should be asking themselves for a relationship. So, I've been doing politics a lot, so this might be a good one for me to kind of break that. Anyway, so that's my sports talk. What's left? A little boxing coming up that I'm interested in, a couple of fighters that I do want to see. And anybody who's out there who's a boxing fan, this Shakur Stevenson against Teofimo Lopez, that should be a really, really good fight this month on the 31st of January. That should be a really good fight. I don't know if it's going to be on Netflix or I'm not paying pay-per-view. That's not happening. But I do want to see this fight. And then in the next month, Ryan Garcia against Mario Barrios. That should be a really good fight. Not as good as the first one that I mentioned, but at least there's a couple of boxing matches coming up that I'll be interested in and I'm going to be watching. All right, so again, we're coming to the end. Thank you, Catalia, for chiming in and all that kind of stuff. Anybody out there, just hit the like button where you're at. I'd appreciate it. Come back every Wednesday at 7:00. I go through, whatever sports stuff for that week that hits my fancy. And it's all, I try to cover as many things, not just the big 3 or 4. Whatever's out there that I can pluck out and try to do within an hour, that's what I do. That's what I talk about. And some things like Unrivaled, they're never going to talk about Unrivaled on some of these channels and all that kind of stuff, or getting to some of the personal parts of it. So like I said, I've been doing this for, some years. And it's funny, I've had this trademark on the swivel at the sports bar for over 10 years, but I didn't have no idea that you can go ahead and try to do something with this on YouTube and make it into a channel and all that kind of stuff. So I wasn't thinking about it. I was still working 10 years ago or so, but I liked the little jingle because I used to go to sports bars all the time. And so I just go ahead and trademark it. And trademarks are not cheap. They're not. I mean, they'll break the bank, but they're not cheap. They had to go through the whole thing to do that. So anyway, so hit the like button, for me, if you can. I'd appreciate that wherever you're at. And of course, this is fair use. Disclaimer. And again, this was third season, episode 7. So thanks for being with me for a second. And with that, we're pretty much done. So I'm gonna hit the outro. And if you like the outro, you can put a comment in that. I know Catelia used to like it, but I like this outro. So I'm playing it for you guys now, and I'm gonna shut up.
Grab your friends, it's time to play. Join the fun, we're here all day. Watch the game with drinks in hand. On the swivel, let's take a stand. On the edge of our seats, we live for the thrill. In this moment together, we're feeling the chill. So here's to the laughter as we gaze at the stars. We say goodnight from the swivel at the sports bar. In the flicker of the screens where our spirits ignite, let's cherish this time as we fade into light. Tasty bites and big screen thrills. Every moment gives you chills. High fives and cheers, it's quite a sight. Join the crowd, it feels so right. As the game goes on, our hearts beat as one. Memories in the making, oh, this night's just begun. So here's to the laughter as we gaze at the stars. We say goodnight from the swivel at the sports bar. In the flicker of the screens where our spirits unite, let's cherish this time as we fade into light. So good night, my friends, till we meet again in this world of the game, through thick and through thin.
Like, share, and subscribe. Unique Sports Talk or Marriage, Politics, and Sports, whatever channel. I'd appreciate it. Art Payne, over and out.